Hello and welcome, Meridian. I'm Chris Ryan.
And I'm Bree Harvey. This is All Access Sports, your source for local sports. A former MSU football player's hard work and persistence carved his path into the NFL. I have his story.
It's not going to just happen because you want it. I think if you really want something, you have to work hard for it.
Go, Jack, go! Come on, Jack!
He's tough.
Pretty down to earth.
Hard-headed.
Persistent.
And he's a hard worker. He'll do whatever he needs to do to accomplish a task.
Former Michigan State center Jack Allen's hard work ethic has been driven by a lifetime of doubt.
Jack's always kind of been doubted, like even in high school and in college, where no one really believed in him but our family and him.
His high school coaches said that he didn't think he would play Big Ten football. He thought he could play in a lower division. His big offer came from Coach D'Antonio at Michigan State, and then after that, more offers started coming in.
They never really gave him the benefit of the doubt. He had to prove what he could do.
And most things I did when I got there to whatever team I was on, I wasn't really viewed as like a elite player or anything like that, but once I was there for a little bit and I had time to show what I got, I kind of earned my place.
A task that would be a lot harder without the support of his family.
The adversity and doubt part, like getting through that, it was my family. They were there and supported me through everything.
Even when we were younger, there hasn't been a sporting event where one of my parents hasn't been at.
It would be easy to stay home and miss some of the games, but I couldn't imagine doing it.
This support pushed Allen to not only work hard on the field, but in the classroom as well.
You hear it all the time, people say football can only take you so far, so I just feel like in today's world you need to have an education, you need to have that piece of paper that says you did what you were supposed to do.
In sports and in life, if you want to be successful, you have to work at it.
He has taken that from them and really taken it to heart, and given as much effort in school as he has in athletics.
Allen became just the fourth athlete at Michigan State to earn the Big Ten Conference Medal of Honor and the Chester Brewer Leadership Award in the same year.
I'm very proud to receive the awards that I have and represent Michigan State.
Most of the time he looks at it as, it's just an achievement he's done and nothing that he's, wants the pat on the back for, or, he just always keeps reaching higher.
Reaching higher in preparation for the next level.
Like preparing for the NFL draft is a little hectic because most guys, you get a little time off, and I flew home the day after the Cotton Bowl to Chicago. I was home for one day, and then the next morning I had a flight at like 8 a.m. to California to go train. I was invited to the Senior Bowl down in Alabama, and I decided to participate in that, and after that, then it became time to get ready for Pro Day at Michigan State, and then after that I had individual workouts with teams.
Allen learned he would have to take a different path to achieve his dream.
It was pretty disappointing, but I never really built anything up in my head too much to think like, oh, this is going to happen.
It was heartbreaking, like to him and us, when he didn't get drafted, but it's just another obstacle, and how you respond to the heartbreak is what defines you.
It'll motivate him and just give him that chip on the shoulder that'll allow him to keep proving people wrong that he can make it.
I guess people look at, as far as like this next level too, look at his size and think he can't do it because of his size.
Discourage people from taking a chance on me in college and in the pros, but I might be a few inches shorter than everybody, but I feel like I still go out there and prove myself.
With the New Orleans Saints taking a chance on him through a free agent contract, hard work and persistence will still continue to be a staple in Allen's life.
He raised the bar and he's surpassed what I thought he could ever do.
He's going to give it his best effort, and I'm sure he's going to give it 110%.
I'm hoping and praying that it works out for him, because this is his dream, and as a parent you just want them to be able to accomplish in life, their goals and their dreams.
Well, that's a great example about how never giving up pays off. Good luck to Jack Allen and the New Orleans Saints this season.
Definitely. And coming up next, after the break, a look at a life lost way too soon when we come back to All Access Sports.
think getting dumped by text is harsh, try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
Welcome back. The Michigan State Spartan Fund created a scholarship. Stanford Law School created a scholarship without him even stepping foot on campus, and now MSU has waived the waiting period and announced his induction into the 2016 Athletics Hall of Fame. Some would say these are small gestures to honor the life of former MSU punter Mike Sadler, who passed away on July 23rd in a car accident. A man of wit, intelligence, and overall great person. HOMTV's Elizabeth Crenshaw was at his memorial Sunday.
On Sunday, thousands gathered at Spartan Stadium to pay tribute to former MSU punter Mike Sadler, who was killed in an automobile crash last weekend.
Thank you for joining us today in celebration for the much accomplished life of Michael Sadler. Although Mike possessed so many gifts, the gift of years was not one that he obtained. As we have heard so many times over the past several days, Mike Sadler was bright, witty, charming, competitive, and as his coach Mark D'Antonio so adeptly stated, he was a light that brightened the world.
He was confident. You could see it in his eyes when he walked up. He was all about business on the football field. He was all about business.
What an honor it was having known Michael. Considering myself one of his good friends, teammate, and then, brother.
I am Katie Sadler, Mike's sister. Thank you for coming here today. Mike is watching this, and he's so humbled to have each and every one of you celebrating with him today. Most of you know him for his achievements on the football field. Some of you know him as a scholar, and a lucky few of you have had glimpses into the world of Mike Sadler.
He made people feel so special, whether it was a 15 to 30 second interaction with him, or if you sat down to talk about serious things in life. And that's what made him so special.
Just the relationship me and Mike built over the time, it was really great.
And I've never seen a son as devoted to a mother as Michael was to Karen.
Somehow, he affected millions of people, millions of lives, including each one of us in this stadium today. And that's why we're here. He would have been so proud and so humbled to look around and see all of you here at Spartan Stadium, his second home.
He made every minute count and filled his time here making each person feel important.
Gracious for the fact that I've earned so many new sons today.
May the Lord look on you kindly and give you peace. Amen.
The legacy of Mike Sadler will remain, and number 3 will live on forever. Here at Spartan Stadium, Elizabeth Crenshaw, HOMTV.
I was actually at that memorial, and knowing Mike like I did, he would have been so humbled with the turnout. Over 3,000 people were there, and I can honestly say I've never met anyone like Mike, and I don't think I ever will again. He was many things, A son, a brother, a teammate, but most importantly, he was a great friend. He will be missed.
Definitely. Well, after the break, we take a look at the Greater Lansing Hall of Fame, and Coach D'Antonio makes headlines. That and more when we come back to All Access Sports.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
You may know about what's happened worldwide, but you might not know what's happening in your community. Connect with HOMTV on multiple social media platforms. Go to HOMTV.net to view our 24-hour live stream. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter to receive the first-hand news updates. HOMTV, Flickr, and Instagram provides high-quality photos while also showing what we do behind the scenes. Just connect with us. Hazlitt, Okemos, Meridian Township, HOMTV.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to GetSchooled.com.
Welcome back. It's that time of the year again that we see local athletes who have left a special mark in this community get inducted to the Greater Lansing Hall of Fame. We have HOMTV's Maya Sanchez at the Lansing Center to tell us more about the class of 2016. Maya?
Thanks, Bree. I'm checking out the Greater Lansing Sports Hall of Fame class of 2016 today, who was inducted just last week on July 28th at the Lansing Center. Some athletes in this year's class include Olympic gold medalist in gymnastics and DeWitt graduate Jordan Weber, voice of Michigan football, Detroit Lions color analyst, former Wolverine offensive tackle and East Lansing grad Jim Brandstatter, and former MSU basketball player and member of the WNBA Sacramento Monarchs championship team, Kristen Haney. Here to walk me through this whole process is Hall of Fame Chairman Bob Every. Thank you so much for being here.
Maya, thank you for focusing on the Greater Lansing Area Sports Hall of Fame. We appreciate that.
This is a great area for it, right at the Lansing Center, right when people can walk through it.
Well, you know, I believe that the Lansing Center is the hub of downtown Lansing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything goes through here. And when we had a chance to move the operation from Lansing Community College, who we thank for allowing us to be there for so many years,
definitely,
into a wonderful center like this, we were just ecstatic, and the center has been very supportive, and we couldn't be happier to have landed here in the Lansing Center.
Right downtown, right when people can walk through it. So talk about some of these athletes in general, not just this class. They have to have something special to leave this mark in their community. What's that about?
Well, we started the Greater Lansing Area Sports Hall of Fame back in 1976, and the founding father was the former athletic director at Lansing Community College,
okay,
Walter Lingo, Dr. Walter Lingo, Bert Smith, who was the athletic director at Michigan State University,
mm-hmm,
and Clayton Kowak, who was an employee of the Lansing Public School District.
Okay.
They got together and decided that to honor the bicentennial year, it would be a great idea to form this Lansing Area Sports Hall of Fame and try to keep alive the sports heritage of this community.
mm-hmm,
And we have produced many great athletes.
So many.
Of course, headed by Magic Johnson,
mm-hmm,
and John Smalls, and Jordan Weber, and Judy Brown Clark. I mean,
some people known worldwide.
Oh, of course. And you know, and when you take a look at all the pro basketball players, the baseball players, the Olympians, right away you say, you know, this is a special area.
Yep. And Olympics, yeah, Jordan Weber this year, it's incredible how much she's done for the country, but then you see this area, how much she's been an influence to little girls who strive to be like her too.
Exactly, and that's a point that you brought up that's well thought out. I was very surprised at what some of the people, we try to be more involved, the Greater Lansing Sports Hall of Fame, than just being a Sports Hall of Fame, so we're involved in other community activities.
Okay.
And one of those activities is be a tourist in your own town. You may have heard of that. And we're here on that day, and literally hundreds of people come through here, and we introduce them to the Hall of Fame, and we talk to them, and we ask them questions, they ask us questions, but a lot of kids come through. And you know, when you see the kids looking at some of these cases that have some of these old jerseys that were worn by people in the Olympics.
Jaws drop.
Yeah, their jaws drop, and they start asking questions. And you know, you have no idea, but you sense that there is a motivation there by a child seeing something like that maybe gives them an idea that they can do it too.
Definitely.
And I think it's important for every community to offer something like that to the little ones, so they have, you know, they have an opportunity to grow up with hope and a dream. And I mean,
and know they can get there too.
Exactly. And when you see a Jordan Weaver leotard, just down in this case, that she wore in the World Championships, that child can almost touch it. And
almost see themselves wearing it.
Yeah, exactly. And to be that close to something like that, you don't know how it's going to motivate somebody, but I'm sure that a lot of these kids that go out of here and see this stuff say, you know, I'm going to work just a little bit harder, I'm going to be a little bit more focused, and I'm going to see if I can become an Olympic gymnast or a Major League Baseball player or an NBA basketball player or a WNBA basketball player.
I mean, they're born with talent, but it's always that extra training that gets them there, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like your business. It's like any other business. You know, you can be a cut above everybody else, or you can go along with the flow. I've never been a flow guy. I've always wanted to be at the top of the heap, and I've strived very hard in my athletic career to get there. To take it one step higher, you know, that's a different ball game.
So talk about this class specifically. What's so great about it? What's so important about it that these people needed to be in this glass case?
Well, we have about 300 and some individuals in the Hall of Fame, and we have, you know, 60, 70 teams. I mean, somewhere around that. And what was their time to come in? Who knows? We have a selection committee of 15 people, and it's a very spirited committee, and they're all ex-athletes. They've all lived in the community many years, so they know the heritage, the sports heritage of this town. They've watched a lot of these people that are in the Hall of Fame perform at all levels, college, high school, professional. And what happens is that, you know, people, I ask my committee members, I say, listen, you know, we're getting ready to bring in the new class. I want you to submit to the list of eligibility 10 names. So, you know, we could get as many as 150 names, but a lot of people pick the same people because it's a no-brainer. You know, like a Jordan Weaver, I mean, you know. So there is a system, it's a three-tiered system, and the reason they got in is because they were selected in the initial process, and then they withstood the hammering of the process through its course, and they came out with their hands held high.
Definitely, and these are athletes that definitely deserve it.
Oh my goodness.
Great athletes.
And all the ones who didn't get in are just as deserving, but again, you know, there's the process. And we want to make sure that everybody that comes in here has a story to tell, which they normally do. And then we put that story in a receivable way, so when they're here for their hour that they're here to visit, you know, they can get as much information as they need to process to help them become what they have become.
Definitely, and talking about the story they have to tell, some of these people, most of them, are still having an impact on the community. Can you talk about that? Can you talk about some specific stories that you might have?
I can tell you a couple of stories. Now, when you take a look, I think if anybody was to ask who's Lansing's favorite son, who's Lansing's greatest, most well-known athlete, I would probably have to say Magic Johnson. You know, then you've got maybe John Smoltz, then you got, you know, Jordan Weaver, and then there's a host after that. Now, how do they contribute? Well, Jordan contributed this year by giving us some of the valuable equipment and uniforms that she wore while coming through the Olympics and the World Championships that are on display here. Magic Johnson, when we inducted Magic's high school team back in 2012, everybody came back and Magic came back. We had to set the date back a week because Magic couldn't be here in the original. Yeah, he needed to be here. He was the draw. And so when he came and all the team was here and they had a wonderful time, he stood on stage and he says, you know, I see the value of what's going on here. And the Cookie and I, Cookie's his wife, we want to donate $100,000 to the Lansing Sports Hall of Fame to keep this dream alive and well and moving. And he did.
For so many people,
Yeah, so, I mean, you get individuals that come every year, and the fun part about there's a lot of fun part, but the one I really enjoy is where the athletes, the past athletes that have been inducted, either through individuals or teams or Dick Letts Community Service Award, we ask them to come up and be recognized, and they form this tremendous line that goes all the way the length of the room, and we put the mic in their hand and they introduce themselves and tell them what sport and when they came in. That's my fun part. And this year we had the most athletes come back that we've ever had. I mean, they literally stacked up from end to end. And you know, so they help out, number one, by coming back every year and supporting the Hall of Fame. Some of them help out in ways like Magic Johnson, where they donate money. And you know, those are the ways that keep things going in the Hall of Fame. Is that if you can't donate money to help keep the cause going, then be here. Just buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And that's support enough.
Definitely.
And they all contribute to the value of the Hall of Fame. So that's how they help us out.
Yeah, and the value passes on to the kids who come in. And you have a great story about Jordan Weber and her. Yeah. Can you tell us that story?
Well, I asked Jordan if she had something she might be able to contribute to the Hall of Fame that she may have wore, you know, when she was an athlete. And she said, I have the leotards that I wore when I won the World Championship, and that are on that I wore when I was on the picture of the Frosted Flakes box top. So she said, I'll send them to my mother, and my mother will call you. And Rita Weber, God bless her, she's a great woman. She works at Sparrow Hospital, and she called me up and said, listen, Jordan sent me her leotards, and I have them. I'll take them to work if you want to drop by tomorrow and pick them up. And so I did. I went up. She was a tech specialist at the emergency department at Sparrow. She came out in her, you know, in her scrubs and says, here you go. And so I took them home, and my granddaughters happened to stop by later on that night, and I said, look what I got, girls. And my oldest granddaughter, who's 8, and then my other one, who's 5, my 8-year-old wanted to try them on. Dad, Grandpa, I can fit those. And so she went in and tried them on and came out and said, yeah, you look really good. Well, my 5-year-old threw a hissy fit. Well, I want to do it too, you know. So she tried them on as well. And I got pictures of both of them in Jordan's leotards. And then I asked Jordan, I sent her a Facebook message and asked her, would you mind if we put these up on Facebook? She said, no, go ahead. And so I put them up there, and God, we got like 200 and some responses. And then when Jordan was here, my daughter, who's also in the Hall of Fame, a great athlete in her own right, she brought the girls over so they could have their picture taken with Jordan before the whole ceremony started. So that's really kind of a neat story, and we'll you know, we'll work
it's inspiration to them,
yeah, it really
just
is.
To everybody.
Yeah, and both of those girls have worked out at the Tristars where Jordan trained, and they continue to do that, you know. So yeah, who knows how that will inspire somebody.
Definitely.
But I'll tell you something right now, Maya. If in fact, knock on wood, they ever turned out to be anywhere near a Jordan Weber, and they got any kind of publicity from what they do because they're so good at it, just think what a story it'll be then when they say or see a picture of this little tyke, now a full-sized young lady performing at a great level, wearing the great Jordan Weber's leotards.
They'll see just how much this matters to the community.
So you know, those stories are great. And then you get into the Sports Hall of Fame itself. That the award ceremony is always great. It's always well received, and you never know when you get somebody up on stage what their story is going to be. You know, they might, I mean, it might be happy. It might be. One thing is for sure, it's always emotional. And I've seen some people on stage when they were giving thanks really get to a point where they become so emotional that they tear up, and some of them start to cry. And you know, I don't know whether it's them rethinking all the sacrifices their family made for them, to get to where they are, to be inducted into something like this. But it does become very emotional, and that's the passion that I love to see coming out of the acceptance speeches that we see, is people who recognize that there are other people that were just as important to them to be successful as their own efforts.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for all your expertise and for showing me this great players.
Well, you're welcome. Again, I appreciate you coming down and taking the time, and if we can be of help any other time on any other thing, let us know. We'll be there for you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Maya. Appreciate it.
Back to you guys.
And on to more humorous news. Michigan State football head coach Mark D'Antonio apparently hung up on less than 3 minutes into an interview on the Fox Sports Daybreak radio show on Wednesday morning. It was early in the morning, around 7 a.m., so you can imagine him being a little testy. But the questions that he was asked didn't really help either. So here's the 5 things that you should never ask somebody before 8 in the morning.
Okay.
And the last question was, who is the new kid in town behind center? And upon this question, Coach D'Antonio hung up.
Right. I mean, the way he was asking them, it was a little unnerving, especially for Coach D. He's a very straightforward guy, and you know, he wants to get to the point. He wants to talk about his team this year. The guy was harping about things in the past. Also, Coach D receiving some praise this past week as ESPN polled 23 college football coaches of the Big 12 and the SEC to question, if your son was an elite football prospect, which coach would you want them to play for other than yourself? 3 of the 23 coaches chose D'Antonio. That's high praise that drew a tie for the second most tallies. So while these clowns over at FSD may have not liked Coach D's response, it's that same no-nonsense, be-a-man behavior that draws so much respect around the college football world. So, Coach D, I think a good week for him. Maybe not so much for the media, but I think he came out unscathed. Pretty sure. And then upcoming games this week, we've got the Lugnuts. They play tomorrow night, Friday night. I will be there 7:05 p.m. at Cooley Law School Stadium against the Bowling Green Hot Rods. Should be a good one there. And then on Sunday, the Lugnuts play against the Tin Caps, 2:05 p.m. afternoon tilt. I'll be at that one as well, so come on down to Cooley Law School Stadium. And that's all for this edition of All Access Sports. I'm Chris Ryan.
And I'm Bree Harvey. Don't forget to follow us online at HOMTV.net, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll see you next time.